It's 5:30 in the morning and I'm up to get started on my day, making some coffee. I'm extremely tired. I was very tired when I went to bed last night. I had a headache. I've been having headaches pretty much every other day, and I've been really tired. I don't know what the problem is, but I think I might skip the gym today. And I don't want to do that because I've been doing good getting there, and I know whenever I skip a day in the middle of the week, I'm not going to make it up on the weekend. So yesterday I didn't really get any work done. My friend that is a flight attendant had a layover here, so I met him and his friend. Anyway, today I really hope to get my blog posts written, and there are like 5 Skillshare courses I need to take. I just need to take a day and focus on skills. Maybe that'll be today. But I also I feel like mentally, if I can write these blog posts, then I'll be in a better place. I'm having to write articles off of interviews, which is actually pretty difficult because the information is all over the place. So how do I formulate that into a sentence? Not a sentence, a story. So yesterday I read the article that accompanied Kim Kardashian's Vogue cover. So I was reading what their article is. But so far, it doesn't seem like it was actually exactly an interview. Well, I haven't gotten to that part, so maybe I should just skip ahead. But, I mean, it's kind of long. But anyway, they're just describing her and their experience with her and little background facts. But I don't have all that because my podcast guests aren't icons. So I'm going to drink this coffee and journal and write. And approve my logo or request whatever revisions to my logo I need to. That's been a process. I'll tell you later. Hey, I wanted to stop and share this moment where my son has his hand on my breast. Because I think it can be hard to understand what makes it hard for moms to get things done. But this is it. Now, it's also him pulling DVDs out of the entertainment center and taking them out of their packages, getting in the trash. But sometimes it's just wanting to be held and wanting to hold my boob, which I don't really want to stop him from doing because he enjoys it. I mean, I know at some point I'll have to stop it, but sometimes they just need more attention and affection, and it's hard to do other things. Like, I would like to be typing right now, but it's really hard to type like this. And he just nursed for maybe 8 minutes. So that's being a mom. Sometimes my husband comes in and I don't think, I think he probably has the impression that I've just been sitting like screwing off, but not realizing how much attention it requires. I was cooking yesterday and my son's, first of all, in the DVDs, wanting to be held. Obviously can't hold him and mince garlic. And then I'm like cooking on the stove. He's between me and the stove, pushing back on my legs, wanting crackers, it was never ending. And then I had to stop and feed him before I got done eating or cooking. Those are the types of things that make this hard, being a mom. And I think also kind of why it's appropriate to have a term momtrepreneur. There are always people who push back on that, but it's different being a mom than being a single woman, it's just different having kids as a mom, even as dads, because generally dads aren't dealing with this. Let's see what happens if I take this out. better off with his hand on my boob. Pick a side. Hi, it's Thursday. And it's like 6 something. I didn't wake up super early because my baby was in the bed, and that was... Anyway, so I said I was going to tell you about the logo thing. I ordered a logo on Fiverr. I send the girl the information about my logo. She sends me 4 logos back. They don't look good at all. And one of them has a skull on it. And I don't know, I don't understand that. So I think we're on iteration 30 at this point, but we're almost there. I was definitely like, I don't think this person knows what they're doing. And after the experience, I'm pretty sure I can make logos. I mean, I know I could, but I'm not confident she used any sort of skill that I don't already have. Last night, my friend Mary came over yesterday afternoon, and first of all, I started listening to the podcast I recorded on Monday, which was my best yet. I was very excited about it. It was a very good conversation. I started listening to it, and only one side is recorded. It only recorded me. I'm hurt. I was so hurt. I did a Skype call, and when I set up the call, like when I was about to call her, I realized I needed to download a recorder. So I just Google recorder. I downloaded a recorder called Camtasia and had no idea it wasn't going to record everything. So I haven't let the guest know that none of it recorded because I'm just hurt. And I was hoping somebody would tell me how to get the rest of the recording. But I posted in the podcast group and nobody told me. Anyway, Mary comes in and tells me about the Spotify podcast opportunity for women of color. And she asked me to look it up and stuff and like told me she wanted to apply. The funny thing about that is she didn't know I was making a podcast, but she thought of me when she saw it. And she doesn't even have Spotify, so I don't really know how she even saw the opportunity. So that was exciting. It's called Sound Up. You fill out an application. They'll pick 10 people to spend 5 days in New York doing a boot camp for podcasting, and then 3 people will be selected to get $5,000 or $10,000 to produce their show. And since I want my brand to be legit, this is definitely something I'm interested in. So I told my husband about the podcast thing, and then I told him it was a week in New York, and he was like, "Are you taking Brooks?" And I said, "No." And he was like, "You can't go." So that was discouraging, but I think I'm going to apply anyway. I said, "Well, my mom can watch Brooks." And he's like, "No," because we need to raise our kid, basically. So I think it's a good opportunity. And, you know, they had 18,000 applicants last year. So if I get selected, I'll deal with all that. But let's just see if I get selected first. Today, I'm just going to continue to try to recover from not recording the rest of the audio. I don't really know what my goals are. I need to look. I do want to say that my body is starting to look legit because today is my 4th day in a row going to the gym. I know that sounds kind of stupid, but I'm the type of person that sees results very early, like very quickly. And my husband always makes fun of me for feeling like I should see results within a few days. But I do see results within a few days. Dieting, no. But when I go to the gym, I can see results pretty quickly. I think it's like also has to do with my muscle mass in general, and then just adding some swelling or whatever. I'm gonna see something. Okay, I think that's all I have for this morning. I'm gonna go ahead and get started now that I have my eyebrows on. Have a good day. Well, you're gonna watch all these at once, so bye. Okay, so I used Fiverr to get my logo. I told her I wanted, let's see. I mentioned more feminine, interested in seeing more feminine or bridal features incorporated. This is my old logo, and this is what I got. This is her first attempt. I said feminine. Then we got the Beats by Dre. So we had nowhere to go but up. This is what we ultimately landed on. That's the podcast logo, that's the regular logo. Woo! All right, so here's my body. Now, big difference, I have diastasis recti from having the baby. So if I lean back, you can see that there's a ridge in my abs. So it's hard to have a flat stomach at this point. But I'm seeing some definition from working on my abs in general. And then I got the shoulders, the thighs, I did biceps yesterday. Come on. I'm in bed right now. I think it's like 8:30 or something, because I've had a busy day. I got up. First of all, my husband caught a mouse last night. I went out and got the sticky traps. He put him out. Before he came to bed, there was a mouse. So praise God for that. But I'm still nervous about the other mice or mouse. Anyway, so this morning I got up and made breakfast, which was kind of involved. Then, what else I do? Oh, I had to wash my hair, went to the mall to buy some pants for my husband for Father's Day. And I met my friend there. And then my son and I went to see my dad, who was like 30 minutes away, at this Nigerian meeting. And it was legitimately a meeting. I thought it was going to be like a get-together with a meeting component, but it was a meeting. And my dad's Nigerian. I don't think I've shared that on here. He lives about 110 miles south of here, and I was going to go down to his house for the day, but he said he was coming up here. So I saw him for like 10 minutes, even though it was a 30-minute drive. Anyway, so all day I've been like wanting to get to work, but can't because biz. And I have all these thoughts and I feel overwhelmed because I don't really know what to do first. I tried to talk to my husband about how I need a coach but don't want to pay for a coach right now. The coach I use is about $500 for 4 sessions. And I know that if I hired her, I would get through this blog relaunch easy. I know she'll identify what I need to be focused on first and just tell me everything to do instead of me having to figure out how to do it and answer all my questions. But I really don't want to spend $500. I've spent so much money when I pay it all back, I will let you and my husband know how much money I spent. Most of that is Mary Kay, as I've said before. So it's like, I think I can do this. I need her for some peace of mind, but that's like a luxury at this point. Anyway, so I felt overwhelmed. I couldn't decide what to do. Just put my son to bed, and I figured I would meditate for 10 minutes. So I turned the timer and just came in here to try to get some space in my head to decide what to do. There's just so many things to do at once, but it also feels like nothing has to be done at once. So my friend that I was with today, she is one of my closest friends, but she's like also the biggest hater. It's not really hater. She's not hating. She just doesn't trust me and has always been the one to try to tell me I can't do something. So I've been trying to figure this thing out for a few years now. Before I decided to quit my job and become an entrepreneur, before I had a child, before I was even pregnant, I was like, okay, so I'm going to do this and this. And I was really into baking. So I was like, I'm going to bake a new cupcake every week and I'm going to sell it. And I'm going to blog. And she's like, you keep talking about this blog, the blog. Nothing ever happens. And I didn't find that encouraging at all. I think at that time she thought I was just lazy instead of at a loss for how to do anything. And then she was like, well, cupcakes are going to go out of style. And I don't find that helpful at all. But she simply doesn't have my plight in life. She had a very good job. She interned in New York, and then she had a job for a very popular, famous, I don't know how to call it, like a big clothing company. She was a fashion designer. So she was an assistant fashion designer there, and I think she was like a buyer or something. And she supported her family. Now her husband is finally supporting them, and they make a lot of money. So we had a conversation a few months ago when I first got here, and she was like, I was talking about my goals and what I wanted, especially in the wake of moving into a house that was just so substandard. And I was so upset about it. I was really focused on taking control of my situation so I didn't have to be in this very house. And she was like, I just feel like you're chasing worldly things, which was a funny thing for her to say. And I didn't have the words at the moment. I know that she means well, but at the same time, she had just told me that day about spending $300 on a purse. And I'm like, you're trying to tell me I'm chasing worldly things, but you spent $300 on a purse. Like, I'm not even there. I'm just trying to get to where you are. But she has no perspective. So today she's like, I said that I just recently threw out the little cards you get when you go on a cruise to like get in your room and stuff. And she was like, oh, you should have scrapbooked them. I was like, yeah, there's a lot of things for me to scrapbook. She was like, oh, you don't need to be thinking about scrapbooking right now. And I just kind of like moved past that, but it was very annoying. What is it? It's condescending to think that she needs to be the one to manage my time. But it's everybody needs that one person to show that they were wrong, and she's that person, which is sad because I really love her. It would be nice if she would just be supportive. She just wants me to be a Mary Kay national sales director and drive a pink Cadillac. She's like, you should just focus on that. I mean, that way you don't have to create your own business. But that's the thing I don't like about Mary Kay. I'm not creating my own business. Anyway, so I feel like something has to happen this month. I've got to do something. I just can't determine what to focus on first. I think I need to just stay focused on getting my 5 interviews, and then I'll have 5 blog posts, and then I can launch my blog. Because I will have 4 weeks. I'll be 4 weeks ahead. But man, getting people to come on the podcast is not easy. It's not easy. I think I have no legitimacy, and military spouses are always worried about talking about their lives, because a lot of them have no life outside of their husband. So it's like, oh, my husband must be private. Like, well, I don't want to talk about your husband. I want to talk to you about your own life. So I'm working on it. I've got 1 interview possibly in the works. I'll call that girl back to let her know that I effed S up. But she didn't answer, and she didn't respond to my text. So we will see. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. But my takeaway from this week would be, I feel like I have some momentum, and I have a vision, and it's about the work. It's definitely about the work. I also want to make a video about what the Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics debacle teaches us about entrepreneurship. And I really feel like the takeaway is, like, you cannot circumvent the work, right? I'm in this phase where I have so much work to do, and I don't know what she did, but I know that she was rushing to get those lipsticks out. So if you don't know, she put out a line of 20 new lipsticks, $20 a piece, and they have fibers, granules. Some of them are like really messily placed into the component. They also have air bubbles, and some of them have like black hairs in them. And her response was kind of nonsense. I feel like she had to have been sabotaged, but also she said she was trying to get everything made at once, like within a month, and they definitely were cutting corners. She said that one of the reasons there are air bubbles is because the lipsticks were poured into the cast or the bullet, but they weren't allowed. Well, she didn't say this, but it's what I gathered. They weren't allowed to settle enough so that the air bubbles escaped out of the lipstick, and therefore you see them in the lipstick. And I'm just like, y'all tried to cut corners. You tried to you just didn't respect the process. And this is all about process. Have integrity in your work, and you can have integrity in your results, and that's not what happened for her. So that's the lesson to be learned. And I had something on my face this whole time. I'm not looking in the viewfinder because that looks weird when I'm selfie filming. Anyway, the other thing I'm going to say is it took me days to get my last vlog up because I had all of the audio sped up because I talk so slow because I'm from Southeast Missouri. Hopefully this one is not the same problem. Okay, I'm going to get up and just see what I'm supposed to be doing because I still don't know, even though I've talked for 10 minutes. Okay, bye.